While the impetus for research begins here, my process does not begin here at the office or in the academy. My process begins elsewhere. It all begins here. As an insomniac, I have a lot of time on my hands when I'm trying to sleep and I can't sleep. So to start the perpetual motion machine of trying to get an idea that I can run with for my research, I spend a lot of time laying in bed and just thinking. Sometimes I have movies. For this paper, I've decided that I'm going to watch a lot of serial killer movies. I can't really explain why, but it's what I decided. And right now, as I begin this project, this is From Hell about Jack the Ripper. Now, I could discuss, there's different gender stereotypes in this film that I could discuss in my paper, but I don't think that's the way I'm going to go. It's just for a general motif of something that can help me disconnect, because I can't just sit down and say I'm going to write about this, I'm going to research this. I need something that hits what I'm researching from an oblique angle, such as the gender stereotypes in this movie talking about the prostitutes in London during the late 19th century. Once I've had time to parse my thoughts out, the next thing I do is I make a soundtrack. This will serve multiple purposes. Later in the research process, this will allow me to use the various songs that I'll allow to inspire me to write and influence what I write to work as mnemonic devices that help me remember certain concepts. I'll line up certain songs with certain ideas and certain claims that I'm making. Various songs will serve various purposes. But I need music. I need different things other than text to help me relate to the work that I'm trying to do. Once I've spent a few weeks just thinking about the different ideas I could have for my research, and after I've made my soundtrack that'll give me some sort of direction and some sort of bookend to what I'm going to do, I collect all the literature I have on the subject. So some of this for this project comes from this class, this big pile of PDFs here that I've drawn all over. And some of it comes from books I have that I think I'll need. So I've got a couple books on language and discourse analysis, and I've got my Foucault, and I've got my Schiappa because I think I'm going to have to do some definitions in this one and more discourse analysis. Now, what I do with these is I'll go through these and I'll find other sources. This is just my primary base of textual research here. After this, I have to step out of my home base, out of my apartment, and do research out in the world. Now that I've looked through the scholarly literature and have some idea of what the conversation going on in the academy is, I come to a bookstore and see what the popular literature on the subject matter is. A cursory glance at the books reveals interesting things to read, but nothing in the pop literature of what I'm looking to study. Perhaps later these sorts of books will be useful to me. So the next step in my research process, after looking at my peripheral sources, is to come talk to my friends about what I'm going to research. And normally that involves Ashley's living room, because this is the living room of knowledge, and we learn things here. And there's Emma, and then there's the TV, and there's the books and the information, and we learn. It's at this point, now that I've whittled down all my ideas and my thoughts and my various questions, that I can come back to the university and take a more traditional research approach. And this is my research assistant, the Fluff. He says meow, meow, meow. He's a good boy. And he helps me. He keeps me company while I'm doing my research. Another meow? Meow? No meow.